Coach, thank you. First off, I know you're excited about this group. What makes you excited about this year's team?
Well, I think we're healthy. I think the success at the end of the season last year and the carryover from that, and I think the addition of the new kids to all the returners we have gives us the deepest roster we've had. So I think we have a lot to be excited about.
All right, so I want to ask you about a lot of these players in particular, but first there was some changes when it comes to the rules in women's basketball this year. Going away from halves, it's now quarters, 4 10-minute quarters. How are you approaching that change with your team, and how much of an impact will it make?
Well, you know, we try to structure some of the scrimmaging that we're doing in practice to those kind of like 10-minute segments. You know, I don't know if it's going to be a big change, particularly for the girls that are just joining the team, because that's the way it is in high school. You know, I think there'll be some adjusting to the, you know, the one-on-ones, you know, not having one-on-one anymore and having 2-shot fouls, and, you know, some of the timeout situations. And I think we'll have to make, and we've been trying to make some plans for how we're going to handle that new backcourt rule where you don't get the new count. You have to, you know, if there's a timeout or the ball gets out of bounds in the backcourt, you deal with however many seconds are left on the ref's count. So that'll be an interesting thing. And
you get that NBA timeout rule as well, where if you call a timeout, I believe it's under 60 seconds to go in the game, you get to advance the ball into the half court.
Well, and I think that's always going to be an advantage, because then you're not dealing with, you know, full court pressure, which has hurt us in the past. And, you know, and I think where we played better last year, you know, where we were a little more efficient in the half-court offense, I think that'll help us this year if we can continue to do that.
All right, let's talk about some of the players, and I think it has to start with Vanessa Panousis. Set a school record in a single season, 77 three-pointers last year. She is in a reasonable shouting distance to set the all-time school point record if she plays well, if she stays healthy. For those that don't know Vanessa Panousis, describe her as a player, and how has she grown the past couple of years?
Well, I think Vanessa Panousis is a basketball player. You know, that's how she identifies herself. She works hard at it daily. You know, she came back way more fit than she finished last year. You know, she's, you know, in way better condition. Works hard at the game, played with the Australian national team this year in the World University Games, and I think that, you know, she's played very well, and I think with the addition of some of the new girls, Reagan being back and Jeanette joining the team, I think she'll play even better this year.
And she's a dynamic guard from Australia, a junior this year. So you mentioned Reagan McGarity coming back, lost that forward from Sweden last year because of a calf injury. How does she change and shape this team this year?
Well, I think Reagan has such a wide range of skills that, you know, her injury last year hurt us in a number of ways. It hurt our rebounding, it hurt our ball handling. She's a real high IQ person. So I think that her being back healthy, scoring the ball, you know, playing as hard as she plays is kind of a contagious thing for the other girls.
All right, and the other thing that makes, as you mentioned, you excited about this team is the newcomers this year. An exciting group of freshmen: Jeanette Hicks, a guard; Kelly Kashuta, a forward; Alana Gilmer, who's kind of a swing player. Tell us about those three and how they fit into this group and how they change this team.
Well, I think, you know, Jeanette gives us a dimension that we haven't had. You know, her athleticism at the point and her presence defensively, particularly on the ball, is something we really haven't had. And I think she's going to make it a lot easier on Vanessa. She's going to make it a lot easier on Hannah. You know, so I think she's going to be a big addition. I think Kelly can score in the post. I think, you know, there's an adjustment for all the freshmen in regard to going from high school into college and you know, working at their games every day and the pace of the game. So, you know, we're trying to get them all up to speed as quickly as we can. And Alana is a wing player who's a good defender. I think she needs to work a little bit on her offensive game, but she's a tough kid and she's got good instincts in around the basket.
For fans that watched Virginia Tech women's basketball last year, you know, there was some times when the pressure really got to Virginia Tech, and that's where Jeanette Hicks, right away, we've said it a little bit, we'll see if it's 100% true, but can be her own press break.
Well, I think she's going to be able to really slow down as much of the full court pressure that we're going to get. And I think where we were, you know, particularly in games that we had leads last year where we got a little tentative, that's not going to be the case. I think we can continue to play forward.
An exciting group of assistants this year as well for Virginia Tech. You bring in Heather Voolin, Brittany Anderson, a former player, and then Bill Dooley comes from the men's side of things from Richmond, a real excited, talented, knowledgeable basketball guy that you get to add to the group.
Well, I'm excited about, you know, all of them. I think that You know, the folks that were here did a good job for us, and you know, they helped us recruit some good players. There were opportunities for them that they took advantage of, and I think that you know, Heather's been a successful assistant coach at Villanova that's had a winning program. Brittany was a good player here and has been a very active recruiter in her time in it, and Bill is a longtime friend of mine, and you know, when Morgan took the opportunity on the West Coast that she did, I thought hiring someone that could really help us with the basketball end of it, given the roster that we have, and it's been great. Bill has done as good a job as the ladies have done in getting to know the ladies on the team and working with them on a daily basis. So I think it's a good staff to work with a good team.
All right, so the home opener for Virginia Tech women's basketball Friday, November 13th against Presbyterian inside Castle Coliseum. Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We're all looking forward to it.